A tense moment unfolded on Capitol Hill as Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem faced a pointed line of questioning about the limits of executive power and the constitutional balance between the branches of government. Before we go deeper into what this exchange really means, take a moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We break down complex political moments like this so you can understand not just what happened, but why it matters.
Gentlelady's time has expired. I now recognize Ms. Ramirez for 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Chairman. Secretary, it's good to see you. I'm going to go straight to the questions because I have a lot of them. Let me start just following up with Congressman Goldman about judiciary. Do you agree that the judiciary is a co-equal branch of government and it is your obligation as a member of the executive branch to honor decisions made by the highest court of the land? Yes or no, Secretary?
We are abiding by all federal judges' orders, absolutely.
So, yes, it's a co-equal branch of government. Okay, well, let me ask you a follow-up question to that. Do you agree that Congress is a co-equal branch of government, and it is your obligation as a member of the executive branch to honor legislation and appropriations duly authorized by Congress? Yes or no?
Yes, that's why I'm thrilled to work.
Well, let me ask you the follow-up question here, because I have a lot of them. Do you agree that Article 1 of the Constitution gives Congress the power of the purse? Yes or no?
Yes, that is a duty.
Do you
of
believe
Congress
that,
to
let me
able
ask
to
you another
appropriate
follow-up,
funds.
it's just yes or no. Do you believe you have the power to disregard congressional appropriations and unilaterally repurpose funds that have been duly appropriated by Congress? Yes or no?
Ma'am, we are not doing that.
So the
We are
answer to
using
you is
dollars
no.
as to
All
how
right,
they
well,
were
it was a yes or
appropriated.
no,
We're ensuring the
Secretary. Let me
programs have
continue.
integrity.
Interestingly, you said no. But since you've been Secretary, you have repeatedly disregarded the law. You have illegally impounded funds that Congress appropriated and that your branch of government must implement pursuant to the law. Yet you've closed offices established in law, including the Office for Civil Rights and Civil Liberties, the Office of the Immigration Detention Ombudsman, the Office of the Citizenship and Immigration Services, and you've canceled contracts for programs authorized in law, including shelter and service programs and citizenship and integration grants. You've obstructed and roughed up members of this committee as they attempted to conduct congressional oversight, and then you vilified them. But my question is, if they were so bad, why were they allowed to go in after to conduct oversight? Let me just continue. You redirected funds to terrorize our communities. You created taxpayer-funded political propaganda campaigns to terrorize families and children who don't sleep at night because of the terror of those commercials that you are putting out there. You hold sick, disrespectful press conferences in my state where, let me be clear, you are not welcome. You corruptly used emergency authority to avoid procurement to make Trump's private prison donors richer by directing $45 billion for them to expand ICE detention centers. You defunded work to address real threats to the homeland, all while you pursued college newspaper editors, labor leaders, and even a Harvard scientist who failed to declare frog embryos at the airport. Clearly, we don't have time for all my questions, so I have 13 pages worth of questions that I will be submitting to the record that I expect you and the administration to answer. But here is my final question to you. When you took your oath, did you swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America? Yes or no?
Yes, I did.
So I find that laughable. You don't behave like someone who takes that oath seriously. And let me tell you why. We don't live in a dictatorship or a monarchy. Trump's will is not the guiding doctrine of this nation, and our country is not a playground for his or your twisted authoritarian fantasies. We are a democracy. We defend the Constitution and we affirm the rule of law. We respect the co-equal branches of government and we uphold our rights, even when we disagree. The foundation of our nation is based on a core set of constitutional rights upon which our prosperity, our pluralism, and our peace depend on it. You, however, have been leading this work for 116 days, and in that time, you have profiled and dehumanized our neighbors. You've betrayed our constitutional commitment to due process. You've deported United States citizens. You've undermined the courts, you've broken the law, you've engaged in corruption, and you've weaponized the immigration system to violate civil rights. As Senator Murphy perfectly stated, your department is out of control, but you're responsible. You have betrayed the sacred fundamentals of your oath. And I believe to my core that you are not fit to hold the office. And I again, to your face, demand your immediate resignation. And I put it and place it on the record for all of us to see. With that, Chairman, I yield back.
Gentlelady yields. Mr. Gabarino is recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Secretary, thank you so much for being here today. I'm the chairman of the Subcommittee on Cybersecurity Infrastructure Protection, so I work with CISA a lot.
During the hearing, Congressman Ramirez wasted no time getting straight to the heart of a debate that has been simmering in Washington for months. The question of whether the executive branch is respecting the authority of Congress and the courts. The questioning began with a foundational issue in American governance, the separation of powers. Ramirez first asked Secretary Noem whether she recognized the judiciary as a co-equal branch of government and whether the executive branch must follow rulings from federal courts. Noem responded that her department is abiding by all federal judges' orders. On the surface, that might sound straightforward, but the question set the stage for a much deeper line of inquiry. The United States government is structured around three co-equal branches: the legislative branch, which makes the laws, the executive branch, which enforces them, and the judicial branch, which interprets them. This system is designed specifically to prevent any one branch from accumulating too much power. Ramirez then shifted the focus to Congress itself. He asked Noem if she agreed that Congress is also a co-equal branch, and whether the executive branch must honor legislation and funding decisions approved by lawmakers. Again, she answered yes. But this is where the tension in the hearing really began to build. Because recognizing Congress as a co-equal branch comes with a very specific constitutional responsibility, respecting what is known as the power of the purse. Under Article I of the Constitution, Congress controls federal spending. That means Congress decides where taxpayer money goes and how much is allocated to each program or agency. He accused the department of illegally impounding funds, meaning withholding or redirecting money that Congress already approved. For viewers who may not be familiar with the term, impoundment is a major constitutional issue. Historically, some presidents attempted to refuse to spend funds allocated by Congress, effectively overriding the legislature's decisions. This practice became so controversial that Congress passed the Impoundment Control Act of 1974. This authority is one of the most powerful tools Congress has to oversee the executive branch. Ramirez then asked a very direct question: whether Noem believes she has the authority to ignore or repurpose funds that Congress has already appropriated. Noem responded that her department is not doing that. But Ramirez pushed back immediately, suggesting that actions taken since she became secretary appear to contradict that claim. This authority is one of the most powerful tools Congress has to oversee the executive branch. Ramirez then asked a very direct question: whether Noem believes she has the authority to ignore or repurpose funds that Congress has already appropriated. Noem responded that her department is not doing that. But Ramirez pushed back immediately, suggesting that actions taken since she became secretary appear to contradict that claim. This exchange highlights a larger struggle that often plays out in Washington: the ongoing push and pull between the branches of government over who ultimately holds power in certain areas. While hearings like this can sometimes appear confrontational, they are actually part of the oversight process built into the system.